This is a newsletter that I used to get just text only. It was very boring, made me think nothing terribly positive about the organization. And probably, I don't know, well, 10/20, I guess it's October 20th. They, I don't know what the 10/20 is, I will tell you that. But, I mean, they added pictures. Again, this is something I like that necessarily research does not bear out, but I like when you don't have to click onto their website to find everything out. This is all the information you have for this. This is all the information. Now, there's no articles on this, so it's not really to spread a lot of news or spread a lot of information, but it's more just about short news items. But compared to what it was, it's far and away better. I mean, they use a lot of color. They do have some links on the left-hand side. So I think it does a pretty good job. It makes, the images they use are really inviting. And they're not just kind of stuck up there. They took some time. And I also wanted to show, this is the e-newsletter that we do here at the school. Now it goes along with the printed copy. We want, kind of what we were talking about with consistency, we want to do it more than twice a year, but right now we just don't have the capacity for it. So rather than trying to do it too many times and then fail, we're going to get twice a year down, and then we're going to add to it. But I mean, it kind of goes along directly with this. Initially it was launched so that we could capture, alums that don't receive this. We do use a lot of white space. We have links. We have a couple of different things above the fold. Any other comments or critiques?
Is that the HTML newsletter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's nice that you guys do both. I mean, as an alum, I get both.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I read the print and sometimes I read online. And it's nice to be able to have that option.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of alums actually want to only receive it online, and I haven't gotten into that because as the database manager, it's too much to keep up with at this point. I want to be able to offer it to people so that they can make the choice. Do you want print, do you want electronic, or do you want both? But we're not quite there yet.
I like the forward to a friend. I think that's important too. And if you have, a share option if you're on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, I think that that's really important too, because like you mentioned earlier, just extending the dialogue that we have.
And build your audience, because once they forward it, you might actually find them to sign up. And the MailChimp, tracks all of that. They'll tell you who forwarded it, every time we get a new subscriber, they send me a little email. And I think that's about it. I did bring a number of printed newsletters also to review. I don't really have those as specific critiques, but if anybody wants to take a look at these, I want to thank the Princeton Research Center, the Maternal Child Health Leadership Training Program, and then these are the sources that I used, and see if anybody had any questions.
I was wondering what your thoughts were on using social networking to market your newsletter. Like, you see a lot of websites now that they have that share this article on Facebook and that sort of thing.
I think that's a really, definitely the way it's going, and I think that's a really, really good idea. We have the ability to do that in MailChimp. We didn't do it for the last issue, but we'll probably work into doing it for this issue. They had some, it wasn't as easy as I would have liked in MailChimp, and I think they've changed that. So we're going to try that for this issue. But yeah, I think that's definitely a good idea. And it just, the more ways you can get people to see it, the better. And if it's Facebook, if it's Twitter, the next thing to come down the line, definitely.
How do you feel about using the word you, Y-O-U, to make it more personal in a newsletter? I don't often see that because it makes it more informal, but I think you is very catchy. And if you're talking to the reader themselves, somebody might stop and think, like, what about me? Even if it's not directed personally at them, It just sounds familiar to me.
I think it depends on your audience. I mean, if you're sending a formal publication to a donor, you have to be kind of careful of how their expectation is going to be different than a general audience, and that's going to be different possibly than, you know, someone in your program area. So it's going to vary depending on who it's going to. But that also brings up another good point. With the email marketing, a lot of times you can personalize it. You can, at the very top, you can put in someone's name. And a lot of it shows that that's a really positive thing. A lot of the research shows that people want to see emails come in saying, you know, hello D, you know, da-da-da-da-da, and then have a message that's kind of targeted to that person. So I think personalizing is definitely a good thing. People like to feel things coming directly to them, but bear in mind who your audience is and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I work in the MI Pittsburgh newsletter.
I sent them an email this morning saying, "Is your newsletter out? I'd like to bring it."
But we have a lot of trouble getting. It's written by the MI before we had. We have a lot of trouble soliciting articles. Do you have any suggestions on where to do?
It's hard if you don't, you know, if you obviously have a budget for paying people to write things, they have a lot more incentive to do it. If you can give them some sort of a token item, that can help. But it's very hard. It's really hard to get solicitations. Everybody's so busy, you know, that ends up being something added to their plate. Of course, with what you guys are doing, it's super important. You know, you can't write about someone else's experience in Rwanda. Only that person can write it. So I would offer them something, you know, whether it's, I don't know, something school branded or something from home that they can't get there. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I would just add to that and say also that tell them they can put that in their portfolio, and how like powerful it will be to say that, you know, that my experience was sought and they asked me to write this piece on it and here's what I produced. I mean, people want to see, like, people that are interviewing you want to see that sort of material from you. They want to see writing samples. And something that's published, even if it's in a newsletter, is impressive.
That's an excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good carrot for especially for students who know that they're going to be looking for jobs in the future. It makes them feel good that they have something in print that they can share with others. And just to like add on to what Lisa said, I think it makes a really good impression on future employers, potential employees, if you have like a book with anything that you've written, including any contributions to newsletters.
I think something also to consider when you do that is you have to kind of ride a fine line. You may have to edit it, and they could be really sensitive to that. I had to do that recently, you know, with a student, and you know, I think he was felt a little bit funny about the editing, but you have to kind of go with either space considerations, or it could be, you know, the grammar is not that great, or, you know, it could just not fit with the tone of your publication, which is kind of what our issue was. It was also a little bit long.
It's fine that you can get greater response if you send questions direct questions that they can respond to, almost like an interview format.
That can definitely help, and I've seen that a lot. You know, people, if you kind of give them some idea of what they should write about, you can either take that and turn that into an article, or you can do it verbatim as a question and answer. Well, if that's it, I'll